Alright guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about some things I wish I knew when I was a lot newer, which would have actually really helped me with my fighting in Rise of Kingdoms. Right? I guess technically we can make it like one thing, but 3 just sounds like a standard number that everybody goes to, so we'll make it 3 things. I think right now, right, if I had to guess for newbies, I know it was like that for me when it came to wanting to build our city so we could fight better, right? We tend to want to focus on commanders. Okay, what commander pairing is the best? You know, what do I get it to? Do I get it to expertise? Do I get it to 5511? All that kind of stuff. What pairings work the best? Do I have AoE? Do I not? Right? What armaments? What inscriptions am I looking for? What's the equivalent progression level? One way to think about all those things I just talked about is those are things that make you more efficient, right? So technically you can not have a max commander, you can have so-so gear, you could have armaments, you could still get on the field and fight, you could still do some damage, but when it comes to trades, you're going to die a lot quicker, you're going to do a lot less damage, so you're not going to get efficient trades, but on the field for your unit, you're just not going to be able to contribute as much, right? This video today is not going to be talking about any of that because there's a lot of those things out there already, and honestly I figured those things out pretty quick just by watching videos and reading up on write-ups from other content creators. What I want to talk about is the actual fighting part today. Okay, so number one thing, if you are not doing this, you have to get the PC version. Okay, if you're not getting the PC version, think you're probably losing at least 50% efficiency, probably more. Okay, and now the reason for that, the control on the PC is just a lot better. So right now on this screen we have the PC version, right? It's easy to zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, but even if I go to the commanders, right, when I'm moving them around, you just have so much better control. There's hotkeys, so like, you know, Control A is the standard to select all the troops on the screen. Shift Control A, I mean they're all on the screen, so I'm going to select all of them anyways, is to select all of the troops, right? If you're not using the PC version, no matter how good your commanders are, your armaments, equipment, you're just not going to be able to maximize your ability to fight. So if you don't have it, get it now. I didn't get it until halfway through KVK 3, right? I heard about it in KVK 1, but I don't know what well, I didn't know what I didn't know, and you know, I just didn't think it was necessarily that big of a deal. Like, get the PC version to fight. Now when you're doing the other stuff, it doesn't matter that much. When it comes to fighting, you have to have the PC version. All right, the second thing is dot mode. Right, so dot mode is, you can see as I'm zooming in, you know, nobody fights this close. As you're zooming out, once you zoom out to a certain point, it becomes a dot. Right, so then you could actually see the dots moving around. You can see someone else is moving down right there. If I zoom in a little bit, I can see it's someone with a Joan, you know, doing farming. Now the reason why dot mode is important is because once you're actually fighting in a KVK and there's lots of different commanders on screen, if you have it in a portrait mode or not dot mode, it's really hard to see, one, who you're targeting, but more importantly, where your troops are, right? So right now, if I'm on dot, I can easily tell where the dots are, right? Pretend like this line up here is a line that I don't want to cross, right? If I cross over that line, that's where the enemy's ball is, right? If I'm in the portrait mode and there's people everywhere and all the screens are covering and everything, it's really hard to see. But when I'm in dot mode, it's really easy to tell if maybe I have, you know, right now I have 5 troops on the screen, maybe I have 4 that are in a good position and 1 actually rotated up and went into a bad position, right? For dot mode, I could avoid that. And also, you can imagine if I was fighting someone else, it's also really easy to see if someone else's dot is in a bad position, and that's who I'm going to target. And this kind of leads me to the third point I was going to make, is when you're fighting in a murder ball, or let me take it back. I mean, when you're fighting in a ball, so right, so it makes sense. So pretend, you know, this line right here is the line of demarcation where we're fighting, right? So there's down here, which is everyone on my side, and then up here, which is the enemy, and we essentially have 2 big balls colliding with each other. The reason why that is the best strategy is because, one, when you're in a ball with a bunch of other people, let's just say someone targets you, it's easy for you to pull back, right? When you pull back, if they want to follow you, and attack you still, they're going to be pulled into a bad position, right? And when they're in a bad position, it's easy for them to get surrounded. And for every troop that's surrounded, if you get surrounded, you take 2% more damage. If you're 2x surrounded, that means there's 3 troops attacking you. You take 4% damage, and it goes up by 2% until you actually get 12x surrounded, right? If someone gets 12x surrounded, they melt instantly. So the point of the ball is, one, it allows you to hide, but also when people get out of position, it's very easy for a number of you to target that person at the same time and just melt them, right? Now, if it's just open field, we're all over the place everywhere, you don't get that effect. It's not as efficient. So if you have two sides that are they're like about equal strength, one side is doing a ball, the other side isn't, the side with the ball is always going to win. Now, the third point I want to talk about is like when fighting in a ball, right? Pretend if this line again is kind of the edge where the two armies are meeting. There's a lot of people that like to hide back here, right? They like to hide back here and pick off people that get way out of position. They're going to get really efficient trades, right? They're going to get kills, but they're not necessarily contributing to the ball, right? Whereas when you're fighting on the front line, maybe you attack someone, maybe you go back, maybe you attack someone, you go back. It allows you to, one, target people that are out of position, but two, it also allows you to help pull people out of position, right? Now, you can't do that on the phone. Like I tried, maybe there's someone that could prove me wrong. It's like, hey, they fight exclusively on the phone, they do a good job. But comparing the difference between the phone and the PC, it's no contest, right? Also, if you look, I'm going to attack this level 25 barb here. Whenever you're attacking someone with multiple marches, right, once you attack, you see how the troop actually fans out and starts wanting to surround them, right? So if I'm zooming in here, right, you can see how it starts surrounding them. If I want to say, in this case, I want to stay on the left, then this Boudica and this Minamoto becomes at risk, right? Because they're moving more towards the front line. Sometimes when you target someone and you want to focus down someone, because when you're surrounding someone, they take more damage, it's easy for your troops to get out of position. If you're on this portrait mode, right, basically not dot mode, it's really hard to see if your troops get out of position. But if you're in dot mode, you can actually move and adjust to a good position, so that when you are swarming someone down, you're doing it not at the expense of you exposing one or multiple troops to get into a bad position. Now, you probably realize, right, if you always end up having to fan out to surround a troop, the more troops you have, the harder it is to keep your troops in a good position, because as you surround someone, they're going to fan out, and when they fan out, some of the ones on the front line could potentially get into a bad position. Whereas if you just have one troop attacking someone, right, they're not going to fan out. When you attack someone, they're going to attack them. And when you go back, you just go back. It's easier to get into a good position. So from my experience, 3 is really easy to control. Above 3, you have to be a lot mindful of your positioning, especially in a ball. And then, there's usually going to be always like 1, maybe 2 troops that get into a bad position. And when they get into a bad position, you have to actually pull them back, or else they're just going to get melted, right? Because they're in the middle of the enemy ball. Everyone's going to target them, and you're going to get melted. But for this one, right, it's really easy to control when there's just one troop, okay? So to recap, 1, get the PC version. If you don't have it, all that time and effort, or maybe even money or resources that you're putting into this game, is going to waste when you're fighting, because you're not able to maximize. 2, I've seen content creators and a lot of people fight not using dot mode. I almost exclusively fight using dot mode now, unless it's like a more clear field. Then it matters, right? Because if I'm seeing like a Kira on the field, of course I'm going to target them. But when there's a lot of people, and the reason why you want to target Akira, right, is like an epic commander, they probably have bad gear, they're just going to melt them, right? But when it's a lot of people, 1, it's just really hard to see. And even if you do see Akira, if they're not in a bad position, you go after them, then you're going to put yourself in a bad position and get melted. It's actually a lot more valuable to be in dot mode, right? So 2, 1, use the PC client, 2, use the dot mode. And then third one, fighting in a ball, you want to always fight near the front of the ball, where you're bumping up against the enemy, and your goal is to target anyone that gets out of position, and then also pull back. But you want to be close to the front, so if you do get targeted and you pull back, you could potentially lure someone else into a bad position. Right now, when the stalemate of the ball breaks, so imagine there's two balls fighting. When it breaks, it's because one side starts getting an advantage over the other side, where they're just starting to melt one after another and after another, and then people are retreating, where they can't hold up anymore, where they're sad facing, and then that's where like the stalemate breaks. If you fight in the back of the ball, like down here, whereas the front line's here, and you're just getting good trades, picking off the people that are way out of position, yes, you're quote-unquote fighting, but you're not actually contributing to the ball. And the only time you'll actually really get into a fight is when the stalemate has already been broken and your side is retreating or just about to get wiped out, right? So always fight on the front line of the ball. The more people that fight on the front lines, right, the more targets there are, the harder it makes it for the enemy to target you specifically, and also it's easier for you guys to all focus down a target that gets into a bad position. Okay, hopefully that helps. Next video, I'm looking to make something that's more of a macro view on fighting. But if you're a new player, you're watching this, and this provided some value, or you just anyone who watched this that provided some value, please like the video, subscribe. Really helps out a new channel. And thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time.